is the prayer. And, this is this very, just elated goal that we've been pursuing and trying to be worthy of. The ones that partner with the Creator and help him continue and finish his creation. Together we just trying and trying and trying day after day. We see the friends and they inspire us with their dedication and the ability that they have to open their heart and to just always face the Creator and try to be worthy of this very important goal, very important duty. We're going to go to the reader in Petah Tikva for the first excerpt. Pay attention for our words, to those words from Rabash.
כותב הרבש. האדם
Rabash writes,
ability that they have
during his prayer,
to open their heart.
a person sets what is in his heart. Since prayer is work in the heart, so a person must decide that he wants the Creator
We're going to go to
give him a desire to completely annul before him, meaning not to leave any desire under his own authority, but that all the desires in him will be only to give glory to the Creator. Once he decides on complete annulment, he asks the Creator to help him execute it. This means that although in the mind and the desire before he sees that the body disagrees with him, annulling not all his desires, that he wants the Creator
we're going to go
to give him a desire for his own sake, he should pray to the Creator to help him want to annul before him with all the desires, leaving no desire for himself. This is called a complete prayer, meaning that he wishes that the Creator will give him a complete desire without any compromises to himself. And he asks of the Creator to help him always be with his righteousness. We'll read again. During his prayer, leaving no desire, a person sets what is in his heart in order. Since prayer is work in the heart, so a person must decide that he wants to give the Creator, to give him a desire to completely annul before him, meaning not to leave any desire under his own authority, but that all the desires in him will be only to give glory to the Creator. Once he decides on complete annulment, he asks the Creator to help him execute it. This means that although in the mind and the desire he sees that the body disagrees with him, annulling all his desires before the Creator instead of for his own sake, he should pray to the Creator to help him want to annul before him with all the desires, leaving nothing for himself. This is called a complete prayer, meaning that he wishes that the Creator will give him a complete desire without any compromises to himself. And he asks of the Creator to help him always be with his righteousness.
Добро утро. скъпи приятели, на
Good morning, dear friends.
срещи, които ние проведахме за предварителната подготовка за
In the meetings we had
доста обсъждахме
in order to prepare for this preparation,
имаше
we talked about which topic to choose,
обсъждания и разговори между нас с Холандия и ние достигнахме
and we deliberated a lot with our friends from Holland,
всъщност се явява основна част,
and we came to the conclusion that
защото
prayer
Творецът
is the primary part of our work,
ни е довел тук да го разкрием
because the Creator brought us here in order for us to discover Him.
И от това, което
We all want to discover Him,
нашите учители, че можем
and
да се свържем с него
this is what we heard from our friends,
в нашата молитва.
that we can connect to Him
И ние се
only
молим
through our prayer.
постоянно по няколко пъти на ден.
And we all pray all the time, a few times a day,
И на нашите
in our meetings, after the lesson,
се молихме, но винаги остава
and also in our meetings with our friends from Holland. We also prayed,
в нашите молитви и остава
and
тази болка в сърцето, че
you're always left with this taste, this sensation that everything is achieved through our effort, and the pain remains in the heart that maybe the Creator didn't hear our prayer.
все по-голямо и все по-голямо и
And our request, our demand to connect with Him grows and grows.
днес на урока в нашето обединение да
And
достигнем
we
до
hope
истинска
that
връзка, истинска молитва.
today, during the lesson, in our unity, we will reach a true connection and a true prayer to the Creator. So let's focus and hear the next quote.
כותב בעל הסולם. התפילה
Baal Sulam
צריכה
writes,
להיות תפילה שלמה.
the prayer
היינו,
must be a complete prayer,
שפירושו
meaning from the bottom of the heart.
יודע 100%
This means
שאין מי
that
בעולם
one knows 100%
אלא
that there is no one in the world who can help him but the Creator Himself.
שאין מי שיעזור לו
Yet,
אלא הקדוש ברוך
how does he know this,
הוא ובעצמו.
that no one will help him but the Creator Himself?
האדם יכול להשיג
One can acquire that awareness
משקיע כל
precisely if he has exerted all the powers at his disposal
לכן
and it did not help him.
לעשות כל המעשים
Thus,
שאפשר
one must do every possible thing in the world
כדי לזכות
to attain, quote, for the sake of the Creator, unquote.
הוא יכול לתת תפילה מעומק
Then
הלב.
one can pray from the bottom of the heart,
הקדוש
and
ברוך
then
הוא
the Creator hears his prayer.
נקרא שוב.
Again,
התפילה צריכה להיות
the prayer
תפילה שלמה
must be a complete prayer,
מעומק הלב,
meaning from the bottom of the heart.
שהאדם יודע 100%
This means that one knows 100%
שיכול
that there is no one in the world who can help him but for the Creator Himself. Yet, how does one know this, that no one will help him but the Creator Himself?
הידיעה הזאת, האדם יכול
One can acquire that awareness precisely if he has exerted all the powers at his disposal and it did not help him.
לכן מוטל על האדם
Thus,
לעשות כל
one must do every possible thing in the world
בעולם
to attain,
בכדי
quote,
לזכות
for the sake of the Creator, unquote.
הוא יכול לתת תפילה מעומק
Then,
הלב,
one can pray from the bottom of the heart,
הקדוש ברוך הוא
and then the Creator hears his prayer.
Yeah, we have a great feeling, friends, that we're standing before the Creator with the last request. What would we ask the Creator? I would not know. I would not know, dear friends. I truly need your help. Only through your help, friends, I could turn to the Creator correctly. It's all prayer, prayer, and prayer requests to come to the true prayer together, to this deep emotional feeling, this cry out to the Creator. When are we going to cry out? Only when we're ready for it. It's a great moment. The dear and great Rav, our Rav, is preparing us for these states, which we are preparing together very carefully, step by step. And we're reaching these true moments. The Israeli friends are a great example of praying after the morning lesson. And I know the World Kli also has great yearnings to be with them, to help them. And I know you are helping us so much with prayer. It's only prayer. It's not, we do not ask. It is, we are going to ask correctly. So let's prepare ourselves in this workshop, dear friends. How can we help each other in our tents to reach this deep and complete prayer? How can we help each other in our tents to reach a complete prayer?
How can we help each other reach a complete prayer from the bottom of the heart? It seems to me that we help each other to stay on the path, not to run away, to keep exerting until indeed the complete prayer will emerge from each one of us, from within.
Yes, we mainly remind each other, give each other this reminder constantly through speech, thoughts, action, that this is the work, this is the path. And we need to focus on it. We need to see how everything we do as a 10 leads us to the prayer, focuses our prayer.
Yes. And the one who can help us is the Creator. And the way we can help each other is by each one turning to the Creator, asking that we will reach one complete prayer.
And we help each other by helping the friends tie themselves to that same boat that we are all on, investing and caring for each other. And that's our game with the ego. And at the same time, we learn how to pray, we learn how to ask. We know that through all the exertion that we make towards the friends, how specifically through these acts the prayer is born. And through the prayer, the Creator enjoys.
And in order to reach the prayer, we also need a prayer. So we will help each other reach a prayer by praying, even if it's still not a complete prayer. We will pray for the complete prayer of the friends. We will help them in prayer. We will help all of us to reach the complete prayer. We will help us want the prayer. They say the Creator hears every mouth, so even a mouth that doesn't yet know how to speak, it is considered that it is asking.
Yes, also by giving an example. First of all, receiving an example from the friends. They raise our sensibility so much towards the friends, and our sensitivity rather. And we see how the friends are investing themselves in order to open the heart to pray, on the one hand. On the other hand, to give an example to the friends.
Скъпи приятели, скъпо световно клие, наистина, сега е моментът
Dear friends, dear world Kli,
в една обща силна
now
молитва.
is the moment in order to unite our hearts, our deficiencies in one strong prayer, through our unity and through the appeal to you, Creator. We can reach everything. Let's become a pipeline for the light that corrects the whole world, and as such a way that we will make you happy all the time.
Семинар мълчание. Влизаме в обединението на едно сърце и да почувстваме.
Silent workshop. Let's enter a connection in one heart and feel the Creator there.
שלום, אנחנו לומדים את איגרת נ"ט של הרב.
Hello, we were reading letter number 59 by Rabash. It is in the writings of Rabash. You can also find it in the Arvut system. You can also ask questions through the Arvut, the Galaxy system. Anyone asking a question in the study hall is asked to stand up, hold the microphone close to his mouth, and speak loud and clear. Rabash, letter number 59.
איגרת נ"ט. בעזרת השם, חג השבועות, תשכ"ב, אנוורפ.
With the Creator's help, the holiday of Shavuot, Antwerp. To my friend, concerning your question about our sages' words, the stubborn and rebellious son was not, nor is it destined to be. Rather demand and receive reward. Your question was that the Torah is longer than the earth, so why was it given things only on demand and receive reward and not on real things? You also asked about the reward.
הלא צריכים להיות
Actually,
משמשים את הרב שלא על מנת לקבל
one should serve the Rav not in order to receive reward,
לשמה.
meaning lishma, for her sake.
ויש להבין, הלא ידוע
We should also understand that it is known
טיב לנברא
that the purpose of creation is to do good to his creations,
יקבלו
namely that the creatures will receive all the delight and pleasure.
הנבראים צריכים
And the reason why the created beings must engage in Torah and mitzvot, commandments, without reward,
יש תיקון
is that it is only a correction on the part of the creatures, since the creatures cannot taste reception of pleasure without shame.
נקרא בלשון הזוהר הקדוש מאן דאכיל דילאו דילי בהית להסתכולי באפי מי שאוכל לא משלו מתבייש להסתכל בפניו. היינו שמרגישים בחינת חיסרון בזמן קבלת התענוג. לכן ניתנה לנו סגולה, תורה ומצוות, שעל ידן נעשה האדם מוכשר, שיהיה לו אופן לקבל כל התענוגים מה שחשב השם בעדנו, ולא יהיה פגם של בושה, משום שהוא רק לשם שמיים. נמצא לפי זה, שעניין הדרוש הוא תיקון, שעל ידו שעניין
It therefore follows that the interpretation is a correction by which we can receive the reward, and it will not be for ourselves, but for the Creator. Otherwise, it is impossible to receive reward, namely pleasures, since pleasure is called reward. And concerning was not, nor is destined to be, it is explained that there are things that one can attain during the 6,000 years. Since it is possible to attain the secret, those things were given to us in corporeality as things to do. This applies to the world of actions. However, there are things that can be attained only in the 7th millennium. Therefore, although they are implied in the corporeal act of a commandment, such as a stubborn and rebellious son, they are not practiced during the 6,000 years. Therefore, this is not to become an actual work, but rather demand and receive reward. For only the demanding applies during the 6,000 years. But the reward, meaning the upper attainment, will be in the 7th millennium. This is called was not in the beginning of the 6,000 years, nor is destined to be at the end of the 6,000 years. Rather, it will appear at the beginning of the 7th millennium. By way of ethics, we should interpret that sometimes one comes to a state of such lowliness that he does not taste any taste in Torah or taste in prayer. Although he is learning, he knows and feels the truth about himself, that the primary and real cause he is continuing to learn Torah is not because of fear of heaven, but because of habit, and especially because of what people might say, meaning when the environment he's in sees that he is lacking in the study of Torah, they will consider him an empty vessel without fear of heaven. And they will not respect him now as much as they respected him before. Therefore, when he leaves the study of Torah, he will suffer from his environment, and also his family will despise him. It is likewise in prayer. He prays only out of habit, but without any obligation due to fear of heaven. And he continues with it also due to the same cause as with the study of Torah. But most importantly, he sees no purpose in his life, and he cannot carry on in such a state much longer. But to this there is a correction called the minister of forgetfulness. He forgets the goal, meaning the reason that necessitates him to continue engagement in Torah and prayer. When he forgets the reason that compels him, he continues with Torah and mitzvot only out of habit. And if he has an opportunity to come out of that environment, he does it right away. In such a time, we need great mercy in order to be able to hold on until the ref, meaning the lowliness, is over. And since torments cleanse men's iniquities, through suffering, he is pitied from above, and he is given an illumination of the fear of heaven, and he returns to life. Thus, the situation returns to being as it was prior to his fall into the state of lowliness. The above-mentioned time of lowliness is called was not, nor is destined to be, meaning it was not in the purpose of creation, nor is it destined to be. Such a thing is called a pit stop, since there is a state of Kedusha, holiness, and a state of Tum'ah, impurity. He can hope to repent from a state of impurity, but the above-mentioned state is called a state of death. That is, everything he does is lifeless and regarded as dead. That was not in the goal, nor is it destined to be. In that case, why is it needed? However, demand and receive reward, meaning that in that state, one must demand the Creator. As our sages said, Zion, no one demands it, meaning that a demand is required. That is, such a state is given to a person in order to have room for demand, that he will intently demand of the Creator to bring him closer to Kedusha. But when a person performs mitzvot, commandments, he feels about himself that the Creator will bring him closer. But precisely at that time, called a pit stop, is the place for demand with prayer and request. May the Creator open our eyes in His Torah. Baruch Shalom Halevi Ashlag, son of Baal Hasulam. P.S. Concerning the Omer count, it is known that man's primary work is to connect himself to the Creator. Omer comes from the word in Hebrew, gathering sheaves. Rashi interpreted as it is translated, gathering sheaves, omarim, collecting. It means that by becoming mute and not opening his mouth with complaints against the Creator, but rather for that person, everything that the Merciful One does, he does for the best. And he says that he, meaning his thought and desire, will be only for the Creator. Then he is gathering. That is, by connecting all of one's thoughts and desires with a tight connection of having only one goal, to bring contentment to the Maker. Then a person is regarded as gathering. The interpreters say that the Omer count comes from the words, and under his feet there appears to be a sapphire brick, as pure as the bodies of the sky. This means that by a person connecting himself to the Creator, he is rewarded with the revelation of the light of the Creator appearing on him. It follows that by a person gathering, tying all the desires in one knot, meaning to one purpose, which is for the Creator, then this Omer shines. This is the meaning of the Omer, or gathering count, where a person shines with the light of the Creator. And since a Jew consists of 7 qualities, which must be corrected into being for the Creator, and there is a rule that each quality incorporates the others, then we have 7 times 7, thus 49 days. This is why we count 49 days to the day of the reception of the Torah. The Omer comes from the word seorim, barley, but also measures. This means that it comes from measures, by measuring in the heart the greatness of the Creator. As the Holy Zohar interprets the verse, her husband is known at the gates. The Holy Zohar says, each and every one according to what he assumes in his heart. To that extent, the light of the Creator is on that person. This is called faith. When a person is rewarded with faith in the Creator, it is regarded as the state of a beast. This is the meaning of the Omer being of barley, which is animal food, meaning that he has not yet been rewarded with the view of Torah. But on Shavuot, and when rewarded with the reception of the Torah, one receives the view of the Torah. For this reason, we offer the offering of wheat, which is food for men, who is the speaking. But before one is rewarded with Torah, which is the quality of speaking, it is regarded as an offering of barley, which is animal food. At that time, it is called gathering sheaves, regarded as being mute, which is only the state of animate and not speaking. For only by the Torah are they rewarded with being speaking.
What?
He writes, such a state is given to a person in order for him to have room for demand, so he will intently demand from the Creator to bring him closer to Kedusha. What should a person demand? What is he allowed to demand?
He is telling us about 2 degrees here, yes? The degree of the beast and the degree of man. And the difference between them is how each one receives that which he deserves. Either he receives it as a beast or as a man. That's all.
This is the demand from the Creator by the person. And from the friends in the 10, am I allowed to demand?
How can you tell what they're demanding?
Let's say that we agreed on certain things. Let's say a certain framework, a technical thing. Am I allowed to demand from them, pay attention to me, that I'm actually keeping the framework?
Right, so that's according to general agreement, yes.
So what we agreed on, I'm allowed to demand.
Yes.
Can I ask another question? He writes, likewise in the prayer, he prays only because of habit, but without the obligation of the fear of heaven. How do we reach the fear of heaven? What helps a person achieve this quality?
Being in this habit, routine, and that is a great thing as well. And then you start from that degree, from that level. You start demanding things which go beyond that. And that's how you reach the fear of heaven. These are not simple matters. We need to understand it, insist on it, be in a kind of general agreement around it, where each one helps his friend. And then we reach a situation where we are able to incorporate together and demand together from the Creator. Yes?
Rab, what is the barley? He says that he assumes in his heart the greatness of the Creator. What does that mean, to assume the greatness of the Creator? To estimate.
It's the same way he can regard the Creator very, very highly, meaning to measure the upper one with the Seurim, shiui measures.
What does it mean? An incorrect measurement or?
Measurement. It's measurement.
And I receive this measurement from the society, from the friends?
Yes.
So we can help each other, we can exchange our...
I don't know. You're asking me about things which we don't know yet. Supposedly, through the connection between us, we can reach a state where each one bestows upon the others, and all in all, we reach some kind of, how to put it, regard.
What is the difference between one estimate and another? He says that there are 49 such different measures or estimates.
Look, I don't know. We haven't come to that yet, to being able to measure, weigh, value, measure the Creator and how He relates to us. We don't have that yet.
So I need to assume the way He relates to me, or I should depict Him as great?
Picture Him as great according to your vessels.
So what is the difference between one vessel of mine to another vessel of mine?
The extent to which you elevate Him above yourself.
In quantity?
No, it's quality.
I need to detect in Him different qualities in the way that He relates to me and how great His qualities are in my eyes.
Yes.
Rav, in the first part of the article, he speaks about a state where a person enters what he says he can no longer continue in such a state for much longer, in that state of lowliness. And for that, there is a correction called the minister of forgetfulness, meaning that he forgets the goal. What is this, or why is it called a correction then?
So that a person does not start belittling, disregarding. He's given this correction called forgetfulness. He forgets. And meanwhile, he's in some kind of state, a period, where he's not determining what the state is exactly, and then he returns.
If, let's say, he would reach disregard, wouldn't it be more clear to him that the situation is bad?
Yes.
So why?
He begins, but what the mind cannot do, time does. Don't think that it all depends on the person. Between degree and degree, between different states, there has to be a kind of pause. Otherwise, he cannot feel that these are different matters, different things. And then, according to what he discovers, well, he thinks about the Creator in that way.
Yes, it's a part of the path, that's clear. We all go through this. But why does he say that such a state was not, nor is it destined to be? He says, and this time of forgetfulness is called was not and is not destined to be, meaning it was not in the purpose of creation and it is not destined to be.
Yes.
But nevertheless, these times do exist.
That's only for a time. It happens to him so that he doesn't want to be in it, right? But it's not that he should aspire to those times, nor regard them as purposeful, goal-oriented states.
How can a 10 help a person who is in forgetfulness if it is a correction for him?
No, there's no such thing. The 10 can still pull a person towards higher states. And then the person follows the 10.
But seemingly, this forgetfulness, is it for him or for the 10? What is this forgetfulness for? What does it correct?
This forgetfulness is to man's benefit, where he has this break between two states, every state.
Okay, we talked about it, but we said that we need to look at each and everything with the spectacles of the 10. So how does this state of forgetfulness that a person falls into help the 10, or what should the 10 do with it?
You begin anew. We forgot as though it was deleted, we're no longer in that state, and then a new state begins.
This is when the whole 10 is in that state.
Yes.
But if in the 10 we see that a person is in forgetfulness, I mean, he forgot only from the outside he can receive help. But if the friends can see that he appears to be in forgetfulness,
then the 10 must focus here, band together, and demand a change from him in how he relates to the state.
So seemingly it performs on him the action of the Creator. So the 10 awakens him.
Yes, certainly.
So how?
That's all this text. That's what it says. There's something that's given to the hands of the friends and things which are given to man, to the individual. And when a person receives an awakening, he awakens others.
This means that in a proper state, the correct work of the 10, there is no forgetfulness. Or maybe it goes away quickly, or...
Well, let's say there isn't any.
There isn't any.
Ken.
Thank you, Rav. He speaks about this time between the Omer count and the giving of the Torah as an intermediate state, a pit stop. And during this time, there's a very special relation to the prayer, to our prayer and demand. So what is so special about this period of time between the Omer count, the end of the Omer count, and the giving of the Torah?
It's a period where a person gathers all the crops, the harvest, and ascends with that to higher degrees.
I know that the Omer count means that there are 49 desires that we have to correct, ask for correction for. What are these 49 desires that in the end we feel that we correct them in the direction of bestow? Instead of the will to receive for myself, I turn these desires to be for true reception, to give contentment to the Creator, to bestow.
Yes.
So what are these 49 desires?
We must identify them, those desires, and correct them, these sfirot, and to see how, by so doing, we ascend.
How do we detect these desires? How do we scrutinize in the 10? So we scrutinize these desires and correct them.
It's not simple. It's not simple. And we must still demand the Creator to give us explanations, guidance, to show us what it means to rise from one degree to the next.
So now we need to seemingly demand of him that he will awaken these desires in us, so we will truly feel the correct efficiency for their correction.
Yeah. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
לגבי השפלות,
About the loneliness, I want to continue the scrutiny that Gilad started. He writes that there is a minister, the minister of forgetfulness. What is this minister? Is it a force?
Yes.
He also writes that we need great mercy in order for one to be able to hold on until the wrath, meaning the loneliness, passes, goes away. It seems like the Creator places a person in an extreme state, and it's dangerous because he can also go to a different direction and not hold on.
Everything is in the hands of the Creator.
So what is the recommendation for a person in that state until the breath passes? How to behave in such a state?
To subjugate himself as much as possible.
Subjugate himself before the society.
Yes, to submit himself before the society, put them before himself.
And in the end, he writes that all of this was given to a person, so he'll have room for a demand, that he will demand intently from the Creator to bring him closer to Kedusha. So seemingly this force indeed was intended to create a state for a person, that state of loneliness is a state that is intolerable internally. A person can't stand it.
Also,
so the question is, can we turn, I'm trying to look at it like you said, that in between the states we have this thing in order to help the created being. Now, we can turn to the Creator in truth only from such a state of loneliness.
yes.
So only a state of loneliness is when he truly hears us, and then he brings us closer.
To the extent that we hold ourselves to be contemptible, low, then the Creator can raise us up higher.
But before you said that we shouldn't aspire for lowliness, we shouldn't ask to be in lowliness. You said before, we shouldn't ask for lowliness, but at the same time, this state is a state in which you can turn to the Creator. He listens.
Yes.
So why not ask for such a state so that I can turn to the Creator and He will hear me?
It's a state where it's a very low state, and we cannot yearn for that. But if we feel that we are in that to some extent, then to that extent we can ask.
And this state of request, we can reach it without, as it says here, without this force of the minister of forgetfulness that plays all these tricks on you. Can we reach such a state in the 10 of lowliness?
It may be.
Is it possible?
It's possible.
Thank you.
He writes here, when a person is awarded with faith in the Creator, then he's called beast. Why?
It's a degree.
Faith in the Creator is beast?
Yes. And then above it is the degree of man, Adam.
He writes, the reasoning of the Creator. What does it mean to be awarded with the reasoning of the Creator?
Yes, that the beast feels its owner. It's not that that state is so bad. Okay?
He speaks here about a process of gathering sheaves, and he's asking about a state where a person has complaints to the Creator, but he remains silent. So what is that process where one remains silent, gathering the desires in one direction? Or I don't understand. What is the process?
Again,
It's written that a person is collecting sheaves, and that means that a person has complaints to the Creator, but he remains silent.
yes.
What is that process? I'm now disqualifying things, judging things in the 10 in reality, and then I discover that it's not the 10, it's me.
Yes.
So I'm undergoing, I request some corrections for that.
Yes.
And that's the meaning of gathering sheaves, that I didn't erupt outwardly, right? I held it in, and what does it mean to stay silent?
Silence means that the Creator accepts it, that it's the Creator who is doing this to him. The Creator is operating on you.
That it's the Creator having me undergo this process.
Yes.
And what should I do now that I've discovered that there's a flaw in me, that I'm not all right?
So you discover it. You discover these flaws until they are accumulated to a certain measure. We will no longer agree to hold them within. And then they undergo correction.
And what is that outcome? Where this whole desire is aimed towards one direction? I don't understand. All those flawed, blemished desires received a correction, and then so what is the matter of gathering the desires?
To strengthen them by each other and bring them to a certain measure of stability so that they can work.
Thank you.
Please. Okay. Dudi, what do we have next according to the plan?
I have a question, if possible.
Yes?
What is the advice for a person who where it becomes a habit for him, the Torah, the work, just a habit?
It is not such a bad state. Well, first of all, we need to say that habit means habit.
But it's not a good state either.
Because there is the purpose of creation. But in between, one is nevertheless in a certain state. And he keeps his habit, his routine. And you can see this on many friends, that they agree. They accept it, that today is just like yesterday, and it's not so bad.
I'm asking not about the daily routine that the person agrees to keep as a habit, but I'm asking about a state where everything becomes flavorless. Everything one day is the same as before. So what's the advice for a person who feels that kind of habit, routine?
What he sees, what he has. Now, does he agree to continue like that? Eventually one asks oneself, what is he going to do? What will he do if tomorrow is going to be like today? Does he agree to it or not? The person has to ask himself. And it is not simple. How will he get out of it? Is it clear? Put down your hand. I'm asking you, for half an hour you have your hand up in the air. Doesn't it hurt you? You see, it's not simple. We need to fight against that.
So what's the advice?
The advice to search by what you will get out of it. By what will you rise above this degree?
How can a person become mute, not to open his mouth with complaints against the Creator?
For this, we need to have a strong society that gives a person also the strength to silence himself and also the strength to rise to a higher degree and see in the state that he's in already as a state of maturing, growing up.
He also writes here that when a person becomes Omer, connecting all the desires with one strong bond for one purpose, for the sake of the heavens, then this Omer shines. So which desires do we need to tie to the goal? Every desire?
Yes. All of the desires that, according to one's view, are related to the degrees of the vegetative and animate.
Even corporeal, beastly desires a person should tie to the goal?
Yes.
Thank you.
When
a person silences himself, doesn't he silence the prayer, the shout?
No. He just pacifies his demands. Actually, he doesn't pacify them. He closes them within himself, and he keeps going. So that now is not the time. It is not the time to gather the incident.
What does it mean it's not the time? If now's not the time, then when?
Well, this is what he thinks.
Thank you.
It all depends on the person's feeling. It could be that he thinks that he is in a time of harvest, and suddenly he discovers that he's actually in a completely different period of time. We'll talk more about that. Niv, yes?
He writes about a state where he has no vitality, it's regarded as death, that in such a state, well, that state was given to the person so that he has room for demand. It sounds the opposite, as though in such a state he has no demand.
No, that he doesn't have a demand is also a demand.
I don't understand.
Does he demand something or nothing?
Nothing. He's without vitality. He does everything out of habit or due to reasons of respect, not to be shamed. And that's it.
That's it.
Yes, that's the state he describes. He also says this is regarded as death. Everything he does is without life.
Yes.
So what does it mean that such a state was given to the person so as to have room for demand?
אבל אין לו...
so that he will demand.
But he has no demand.
What vessels does he have in order to reach a demand?
שום התעוררות.
He has no
awakening.
No awakening, no desire. He even forgets that he needs to reach a kind of demand. He doesn't know how to activate these vessels called a demand. So there's a kind of skip here.
Yes.
So what does he do? What is that skipping? How does he bridge it, this jump?
He connects to the environment and he starts to pray, to ask.
מה זה נקרא שהוא מתחבר?
What does it mean to connect? Because seemingly he's in the environment, he does everything so as not to be shamed, without any vitality. And what should he add? So it can be said that he connected to the environment and then to begin demanding.
In order to receive an awakening, a livelihood, in order for him to have a strength.
So let's say he's in such a state and he wants to emerge from it, right? So there's an additional thing here. It's not just that he's in this state without life, he also wants to come out of it.
No, if he wants to come out, he no longer has a problem. He just needs to search for additional powers that will help him to carry out what he wants inside.
So, how does he reach that starting point from this lifeless state, seen as death, wanting to emerge from that? How does that begin?
Only by being incorporated in the environment. Only by being incorporated.
What is incorporation? Is it an active thing?
Yes, it is an active act.
And it requires something more than routine, habit?
Yes. Yes, of course.
But he doesn't have that. He's considered lifeless. So how does he act?
This is the state called death. But along with that, he now needs to perform actions so that these actions will elevate him.
But
they will awaken
from
him.
where will that initial urge come from?
The first action he'll receive from above by demanding, asking, awakening towards connection with others. I just want to say, make a calculation that if we connect between us, to what extent we extract from within us, only through connection, all kinds of different forces that immediately awaken. So that seemingly you weren't thinking, you couldn't feel these forces together, but now, when you have connected them, you start to feel how much they're contradictory, how much they're different, how much they're yearning towards the goal, and how much they have in between them, specifically from the collision. There are many forces that can be discerned in them, different forces. It's that the Creator has concealed within people And this is what becomes revealed in the inclination towards connection.
תודה.
בסדר?
Thank you.
טוב.
Okay.
מה יש לנו עוד?
Well, what else do we have?
כאן זה
Oh, here.
Woman Turkey 1.
Selam Ra, selam dostlar. Ra, kişi hakikate gelmeden evvel merhamet niteliğini edinmek zorunda mı? Yoksa merhamet kişiye dostlarından mı veriliyor? Talep ettiğinde.
Rav, does one have to acquire the quality of mercy before reaching the truth, or is mercy given from one's friends?
No, first, he needs to yearn for mercy.
Woman Turkey 9.
Women Turkey 9.
Sevgili Rav, sevgili Clay, Rav, baştan yaratılan tüm safhalar nedeniyle biz hiçbir şey değiştirmedik.
Rav,
Sadece maneviyata gelme ve çaba
because all of the stages of creation from the beginning, we cannot change anything in them.
aşağıdan yukarıya realiteyi
It's as though we're only looking on, witnessing what is happening.
oluşuyor diyebilir miyiz?
According to what I see in creation, can it be said that my attainment in life, my perception of reality is growing?
Yes. Yes.
Kiev 1.
Да, дорогой Раф, вот вы сказали сделать расчет, что раскрывается, какие силы в результате нашего
I've said that we need to take into account what is being revealed, what kind of forces are appearing through the connection in the 10. So how to analyze it correctly? What should we try to identify in the connection between us?
Мы должны постараться видеть те силы.
We need to try to see in the connection between us those forces and opportunities that we don't have personally.
Нашего объединения.
How they're born from the connection between us.
И так мы получим четкое понимание того, что мы можем в себе
And thus,
родить.
we will receive a clear understanding of what we can beget from within us.
Что-то, что мы раньше не ощущали.
Do we need to search for new states, things we've never felt before?
Yes, yes, of course.
Какая-то новая сила объединения должна быть.
So it's a new force of connection, a new feeling of the Creator.
Yes, yes, absolutely true. It's a new force. It's a new force, a new connection.
Новая возможность.
A new opportunity.
А вот то, что сегодня говорили про привычку, и Ниф тоже спрашивал.
What we talked about today, this habit.
В обычном ритме наших встреч, действий,
How
эту новую силу видеть.
in our normal rhythm of gatherings, meetings, actions, how do we keep identifying that new force?
Как нам видеть эту новую силу?
How to see this new force
Сближении, соединении друг с другом появляется.
This force is born in every nearing between us, in every connection between us, and new opportunities born. Turkey too.
Aradana aramızdaki bağ için nasıl talep edeceğiz?
Dear Rav, how do we demand connection between us from the Creator?
It's very simple. We can demand for the connection. We can ask, demand, cry in every state. This is what we need to do because the result of our connection is already a new degree. a new degree, a new state. It is already a new creation.
Woman have one.
In a state of lowliness, are there different kinds of lowliness? There are states where a person is angry with his situation and he doesn't understand he needs to turn to the Creator. Are those states you need to block? And are there states where a person feels loneliness because he has no connection to the Creator and there he needs to demand?
Yes, those are actually also the states that he needs to stop, to put a stop to.
Kab U14.
Kab U14.
Hello, Rav and World Kli. How do we yearn for the spirituality of the 10 even more so than we do our own? How do we demand that?
איך להגיע לדרישה נכונה, להשתוקקות אמיתית בתוך העשירייה לרוחניות?
תלמדו זה מזה.
You should learn from each other.
זה מזה.
From each other.
בסדר.
How
Okay.
do we learn each other?
מסתכלים אחד על השני.
You look at each other and you learn from each other. You get closer to each other. And in such a way, you begin more and more to feel the friends.
Thank you, Ralph.
Women Ukraine too.
Women Ukraine too.
Спасибо, дорогой Раф. У нас такой вопрос от группы. За счет
Thank you, dear
чего
Rav.
и когда человек сможет
I have this question from the group.
желание с целью?
How can a person connect his corporeal desires to the goal?
Когда его животные желания также направлены на ту же цель.
When his corporeal desires are already directed towards the same goal. H10.
Good morning. Why is a state of forgetfulness on our path such a blessed thing? What does it give us ultimately?
I didn't understand.
The question was, why is the state of forgetfulness so blessed in our work? What do we gain from forgetting things?
It depends on what you forget and what you attain.
We're talking about the Torah, about the path, the process, all of a person's attainment. And we read about Kabbalists begging to forget what they learned.
Correct.
So what do they gain from it? What is this renewal that happens to the person, and why does he need it? Why not demand more, want to learn more, know more, and not to forget?
The fact that Kabbalists demanded to forget all kinds of things, it was in order for them to have the opportunity to work on them again, as though they never had it, as though it was not revealed to them. And by that, they want to show how much they want that goal, those actions that now come back to them.
Latin 4.
Maestro, ¿cómo darnos cuenta en la escena que estamos en una situación de costumbre?
How can we pay attention in the 10? How can we notice that we are in a state of habit?
In a state of habit, it's a big problem. We need to search how we can come out of it from that state. And in this way, when we go forward,
Maestro, ¿me puede hacer una segunda pregunta? ¿Me puede hacer una segunda pregunta? Disculpe.
Can I ask another question?
Yes, quick.
Nosotros vamos a tomar la decisión, estamos tomando la decisión de leer la lectura o hacer la lectura del Sidur, de rezo. Hemos sentido que eso nos va a ayudar mucho.
We've decided to read from the Siddur, the prayer book. And we found that it helps us with many things. Will that help us in that state of habit, reading the Siddur?
No, I don't think so. You need to be with us as much as you can in the lessons. Try and be in connection, connected to us. And that will help you mainly.
Ken.
Good morning. He writes that in such a time you need great mercy. This is after the Minister of Forgetfulness, that at such a time you need great mercy so as to be able to hold on until the wrath passes. And as suffering cleanses the impurity of man, and then he's pitied upon from above and given mercy from above, and again he returns to life, and everything returns back to how it was before the state of lowliness. So what is that illumination of the fear of heaven? As I understand, everything is in the hands of the Creator except for the fear of heaven.
Yes, but now he gets it. He receives it.
So it's something he can accept.
Yes, of course.
Thank you, Ov.
טוב, מה אנחנו עושים עכשיו, ניב?
What are we doing now, Niv?
יש לנו את החלק הבא של השיעור.
We have the next part of the lesson
מאמר הערבות. ממשיכים
from the Arvut article, item 20.
So let's keep going.
So let's continue to the next part of the lesson, and before, let's sing a song.
El viejo mundo está sepultado en el ayer. Hoy viviré con la certeza de que hacia atrás no volveré, porque ahora un mundo nuevo ha de florecer y en otorgamiento tendrá que ser. Un nuevo mundo ha despertado al no pensar solo en nosotros otra vez. Miles de amigos conectados, rezando juntos por el mundo a la vez. Algo haré, hoy pediré. La 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 la
ונעשה לו נחת רוח לבורא. אתה תראה או תגלה שכל הרצונות של החבר יאספו בתוכך לבקשה שתעלה אל הבורא. כי בערבות הדתית הזאת כל אחד רוצה רק טוב עבור כולם, והוא איתם היא עוד תשלים את כל החסרונות, וכל המציאות שלך עוד תתמלא. אז בוא תראה
un nuevo mundo despertado al
השיעור מבוסס על מאמרים מהספר כתבי בעל הסולם. את הספר ניתן להוריד באתר קבלה לעם, kab.co.il.
Hello, we are reading from the writings of Baal HaSulam, the Arvut article. We're continuing from item 20. You can find the study materials on the Arvut system. So, the Arvut article, item 20.
Please.
But the end of the correction of the world will only be by bringing all the people in the world under his work, as it is written, and the Lord will be king over all the earth. In that day, the Lord will be one, and his name one. The text specifies on that day, and not before. And there are several more verses, for the earth will be full of the knowledge of the Lord, and the nations will flow on to him. But the role of Israel toward the rest of the world resembles the role of our holy fathers towards the Israeli nation. As the righteousness of our fathers helped us develop and cleanse until we became worthy of receiving the Torah. For were it not for our fathers who observed the whole of the Torah before it was given, we would certainly not be any better than the rest of the nations, as mentioned in item 12. So it is upon the Israeli nation, through Torah and mitzvot, to qualify itself and all the people in the world to develop until they take upon themselves that sublime work of love of others. This is the ladder to the purpose of creation, which is dvekut with him. Thus, each and every commandment that each person from Israel performs in order to bring contentment to one's Maker, and not for any reward of self-love, helps to some extent with the development of all the people of the world. This is because it is not done at once, but by a slow, gradual development until it increases to such a degree that it can bring all the people in the world to the desired purity. And this is what our sages call shifting the balance to merit, meaning that the necessary weight of purity has been achieved. They compared it to weighing on a scale, where the shifting of the balance is the achievement of the desired weight.
שאלות?
Questions? None. Yes, Niv?
So what's the process here? That only when the scale goes to merit, then you see a change, and before it?
Before that, it is work of many individual people here and there, those who awaken, and by this receive an opportunity for correction.
And what does it mean that Israel changed the scales to the side of the merit?
As you see, through the individuals in Israel who awaken, and connect. By this, they cause everyone to connect.
When does the shifting start?
No one knows. It's when people awaken.
When does the process start where Israel puts a sesame in another sesame?
It started a long time ago. But when will it end in the last sesame seed being beginning to bring down this scale?
And that should be on which degree and to what extent?
He doesn't write anywhere. It's not written anywhere how we can measure, see how we can influence. It's written pretty much how we can influence, but it's very vague. That's it.
So all of Israel need to shift the scale to merit.
Yes, relatively, as much as possible.
And until then, there's no changes in the world.
Until then, the changes are usual, the way you see them.
For the bad.
The bad to the good, yes. There's nothing you can do. We are in a situation where everything depends on us, and we have to understand it and become incorporated and decide to the side of merit.
It's hard to understand why the process is like that.
Why?
Why isn't it gradual? He says on one hand it's a gradual development, slowly.
Yes.
But it's only in Israel.
So what?
Why isn't there some advancement that we took a step and...
I don't see that there is no advancement in humanity as well. Where do you not see it? From generation to generation, from century to century, we advance.
To where?
To understanding states, understanding that the connection between us can be beneficial, etc. Still, what you are now going to circulate to thousands of people, you can circulate and they'll understand you pretty much, more or less. Whereas a few hundred years ago, it was impossible. More questions? Yes, Dudi?
Why is the development so slow?
I don't think it's slow. What does it mean, slow? It takes another century, another 2 centuries, another 5,000 years.
Yeah, it's very slow.
According to our time, our clock, but it's not really slow compared to the time that the universe has existed and planet Earth and now everything. How everything develops.
Compared to all of creation, right, it's like a little nothing.
So,
but why not in a year? Why in our times it's so long? And
because we cannot digest it, we can't participate in this.
Why is the time of digestion is so slow? Why do we digest it so slow? Another 100 years, another generation. Why doesn't it happen?
Ask people, because they're changing slowly.
Why is the mechanism built in a way that is such a slow change, a slow recognition?
If you take into account the development of all of creation, still vegetative, animate, and speaking, you will see that it is built in some way that is relatively correct.
Why isn't it double speed, this whole business? Why can't we speed it up? I don't get it. I understand I don't see the whole system and it's precise. I don't have doubt about it. But why is it this way and not another way? It could be double the speed.
You would still be asking, why then?
Why would not in a moment?
I'm telling you, there is no logic in this way or that way.
No.
Well,
אני עדיין בהתרשמות מהמאמר הקודם, היה שם
I
מצב...
still have an impression from the previous article. There was a state of somebody on the path, and because he doesn't have the fear of the heavens, so they brought him darkness,
הוא התחיל לקבל...
and he started getting suffering.
yes.
That gradually brought him to a state that he got an impression from the fear of heavens. And it seems like the world is starting to get a lot of suffering lately. Not only here, it's spreading. And also here in the article, he says that Israel need to reach a state that all their work will be for the sake of the heavens, and they'll help the world get there. So I'm asking about those 2 degrees, that the world is suffering, but part of humanity already really feels this work to do it for the sake of the heavens. How will that part that is living or speaking will affect the still or the vegetative, and bring the parts together?
Yes.
How's that connected to the fear of heavens? We know that his sons won't die, that he'll have the next world, and then there's like a jump that he's fearful of his greatness.
Yes.
So that's our duty. What is our role in awakening those points in order to jump?
Our role is to be the first in the correction, to come closer to each other. And it's already written in our books from thousands of years ago that we have to unite between us and turn to the Creator and pray. And by this, to feel that we have to perform these actions the way they are written.
How
do you awaken suffering from a higher degree towards a lower degree?
We don't need to awaken suffering. That's not our way.
Not to awaken suffering, but that they'll have more discernments. Like we say, that there's sufferings of love or being concerned of...
Only to pray. Only to pray.
No.
תודה.
כן.
הרב הוא כותב פה,
He writes that every commandment that each one from Israel performs in order to give contentment to his Maker, by this he helps the whole world develop.
Yes.
What is the commandment in order to give contentment to the Maker? What does that cause if we do a commandment in order to bestow?
It awakens a person and the Creator to connect for the observance of that commandment.
How does that affect all of humanity?
It influences because we're all already connected into one system.
What happens to a person in humanity when someone from Israel performs the action, gets illumination, surrounding light?
What he receives, yes, some illumination of the surrounding lights.
But not a correction, it's
an awakening.
We say that each one needs to correct till the root of his soul. But here he says that it's all of humanity. That a person has to determine to the scale of merit. So it's something personally each one has to get to?
Yes.
So how does each one correct his own until all of Israel will be corrected?
Until all of Israel, until the whole world, and that's how it'll be.
Thank you.
Yes.
בדיוק בהמשך לזה, התוצאה בסוף שמתפשט...
So the result will be that the work here that woke up will spread to the whole world. Except for being a result, it has to be something that has to be in our intention in every action.
No. No, we don't have correct intentions. So we can't correct the world through intentions.
So our effort has to always be between us and the result that it expands.
Yes.
We can't hold on of the purpose that it'll go onward.
It's unrealistic. Yes.
So it turns out that the scales are weighing spiritual sesames, not quantity but quality.
Yes.
And it says Israel are few of the nations.
Yes.
But still they have a quality that can draw the whole world with them.
The quality remains, yes. More? Yes.
רב, הוא כותב שתפקיד האומה הישראלית...
He writes that the role of the Israeli nation by the Torah and commandments to help the world develop, to receive this sublime work of love of others.
Yes.
And that brings adhesion. Why should I love the others? What's the reason?
Because it brings you to the purpose of creation.
מטרת הבריאה זה דבקות בבורא.
But the purpose of creation is adhesion with the Creator.
Yes. Because from the love of the people to the love of the Creator.
I'm trying to think always towards the Creator. He loves without a reason. That's his nature.
Yes.
I don't have a measurement. I'm trying to measure towards him all the time. I also have to work to love with no reason.
No, you already have a reason because the Creator wants it.
It's because I'm teaching myself to love, so I understand that the Creator loves with no reason. That's his nature.
So he without any reason, and you with a reason.
What's my reason?
Yours. It's because the Creator is in it.
But it's not enough. What else do I need to tell myself? To imagine to myself? Towards the root. Why am I asking? Because my ego is against the others. Let's say I want to pray for a friend.
Clear.
So I need a reason. Why am I doing an action towards the others now? I'm trying to come closer to them, pray for them. If my ego is all aimed against it.
The reason is simple. Otherwise, you'll suffer blows.
That's not enough. What's suffer blows?
What do you mean it's not enough?
I already got blows, so I'll get blows. So what? I'm searching in my root, the Creator, a reason. He loves with no reason. It's his nature. I also have to reach it that I love with no reason.
Yes.
Why is there such a balance of forces that now I want to pray for the benefit of the friend? My ego is on one hand slandering against him, and now I have to pray for the benefit of the friend.
Yes.
Why is there such a not normal balance of forces?
Why is it not normal? Although I don't want anything good for the friend, I have to nevertheless pray to the Creator to give me a good relation toward the friend.
How do I give a prayer for the friend more forces?
Through preparation.
What's through preparation?
Through preparation, when you think about it before you go and do it, until you get such a relation to the friend and to the Creator that you yearn to be connected with them.
And I'm doing all this because this is the Creator's nature?
Yes.
No.
He writes that by engaging in Torah and Mitzvot Lishma will reach such an exalted development of love of others.
Yes.
One depends on the other. The engagement in Torah and Mitzvot, that's what the exalted role of love of others depends on?
Yes.
What does it mean practically?
That if you relate to the friends in this way, then by this you'll also elevate yourself and relate this way to the Creator.
And the opposite too?
I don't know about the opposite.
He writes that through the efforts in Torah and Mitzvot Lishma for the benefit of the Creator, that will reach the development of a love of others.
Yes, that's what I said.
You said through the love of others.
And the other way around as well. Yes, Gilad.
I want to go back to what friends already asked about when he said that each and every commandment that someone from Israel performs in order to bring contentment to one's maker and not for any reward and self-love helps to some extent with the development of all the people in the world.
Yes.
So this kind of like clogs all the questions. If you understand it, it just closes us off. We give contentment to our Maker and every commandment. That determines the whole world.
Correct.
How to grasp this? It's very...
What?
How should we understand this?
This is how reality is built.
That's how it's built, but it's concealed from us.
So they write to you.
They write it, and if I really grasp it, so it's an endless responsibility on each and every one.
Yes, yes. This is why there is anti-Semitism that awakens you.
But it also means that if there's anti-Semitism, that we're not doing the work correctly.
Correct. It means that what he writes here is correct.
How do we make it settle on the heart? That's my question, actually, Rav. By speaking about it
all the time.
בסדר. כן, אני אתן קודם...
First I'll let Hanoch speak.
Now, at this point in time of the world, someone from Israel is comprised of the whole world, all the children of Israel, all the people in the nations of the world within him, and also the Creator. So right now, in a person from Israel, all created beings are included.
Yes.
And he says here, deciding or sentencing. If I, first of all, how do I climb up the degrees of family, country, world, reality? How do we climb up these stairs?
I don't understand what you're talking about.
It can begin with small, like the family that you're included in, then the neighborhood, the city, the country, the world, reality, including all the details in the family, country, the world, reality. How do we climb up the degrees of this? How does a person feel it? That he is comprised of,
by thinking and taking into account that he depends on everyone and everyone depends on him.
It's a reality. At any given moment, he is made of all the details, he feels them.
Yes.
I'm asking about the deciding. If such a person justifies or loves more than he hates the one who stands in front of him, he crowns the Creator right there and then. That's the question.
I didn't hear it.
He says here, sentencing the whole world to the side of merit.
Yes.
Anyone from Israel can do it right now. I'm asking about sentencing. There's a person from Israel who justifies or loves the other more than himself. At that moment, does he crown the Creator over all of reality?
Yes.
Yes, crowns in practice?
Yes.
And what is that state of world that is all good?
Yes.
So in this way, he causes all the elements of reality?
Yes.
Now, it may be conscious in him, and there's a situation where all of reality is conscious of it. How, when he is conscious of it, what is this, how does it pour this thing that it's all good, how does it pour from him to all of reality?
I don't know. I do not know.
But as there are degrees in incorporation,
you can say that's your assumptions already.
Thank you.
Niv, what are we doing next?
Is it possible to somehow understand from the state of the world if Israel is doing its job or not?
Of course you can. And the result is negative.
But from what I understand, the result will continue to be negative until we sentence to the side of merit.
Yeah.
So how do we know if the negativity that's revealed now as a result or not as a result, or it's unrelated, or we can't even measure the connection between what Israel does and what is happening in the world?
We need to check and see and measure and then determine what it depends on.
So what's the measurement? How do we see? Let's say a war breaks out somewhere.
So of course Israel are guilty.
Yeah, but are they only guilty, or maybe it's actually to their merit, or maybe you can't determine anything.
No, if it's a war, so it's not for their benefit.
Why? Let's say a war causes the recognition of evil, of the separation. I don't know.
You can say that about everything from the beginning of creation.
I'm asking this because in the beginning we said that until the scale is set to the side of merit, the situation in the world will not gradually improve. It will continue to evolve as it is, and it's developing egoistically, meaning to the worse.
Yeah.
So we needn't expect improvement in the world the more Israel works on connection, on correction, and suddenly the world becomes greener and greener and greener.
Yes.
So if that's the case, can we conclude or project or measure the state of the world as a result of Israel's work?
For now, we can measure and say that Israel is not doing anything good.
How do we see this?
According to the world.
So, okay, I can't understand it.
What can't you understand? What are you reading there that you can't understand?
We read that sentencing to the side of merit until the scale is decided, until the sesames accumulate and the scale is sentenced to the side of merit, the situation in the world, besides Israel, is not going to get better.
Yes.
Meaning the situation will not be good.
Not good.
So even when Israel sentenced another sesame and another sesame to the side of merit, the situation in the world will still not improve.
Why not?
Because that's what we said. Only that when the scale is sentenced to merit, then the situation in the world will appear evidently, within reason, within the desire, openly as improved.
Well, still, for the good.
So if that's the case, is it possible to somehow project on the connection between the state of the world and the state of Israel, if they're doing their work, or are they negligent?
It belongs.
Who can measure this?
We see it before us. If the world still didn't reach a good form, so Israel still aren't performing what they're supposed to. They haven't reached the shifting of the scales.
Ken.
Yes.
Good morning, Rav. After this conversation, when I look at reality with my eyes, it's hard for me not to condemn. And I have a twofold pain on the situation itself and on the fact that I'm condemning or that I can't justify. And I read that all the work is on me. I have to do this commandment after commandment in me so that the world will be corrected.
Yeah.
How do I work with this pain that is created in a person that when he sees this?
You must still supposedly turn to all people on earth and to want them to understand and perform corrections that bring man and the world to the end of correction.
But I can't even create a real prayer inside.
So for now, that's the reason. Yep.
So how do I come to a prayer? How do I come to an internal prayer that will really be? It's not coming. It comes and goes.
As much as you can. As much as you can. What can you do? You're speaking about something that we're below. We're in a result of that.
Yeah, it's clear that it's a result of it, but all of us, well, I don't know about everyone, but me, I'm part of the system. I even feel that I'm a part of the system.
Yeah.
But it's helplessness, because even when you can talk to someone, there's no feeling that it's coming through, that something is being conveyed from what you're telling me now.
That has to come with a command from above.
So should that be my prayer, that the command will come from above, regardless of the results?
The Creator has to decide that He gives a command to everyone. Good luck.
Thank you.
So we have
Haifa 3, Haifa 1.
Hello, Rav. In this conversation, I wanted to remind us that the Ari said that everything is within a person is a small world. And my teacher told me, correct yourself and you'll see that the whole world is corrected. My question is, 15 years ago I wrote in my notebook that you said that love does not depend on sadness or joy. Then I couldn't understand. Please explain it to me.
I can't say. I don't know what I was talking about back then. I don't know.
Moscow 4.
Okay, let's go to Moscow 4.
Здравствуйте, Раф, мировое Кли.
Hello, World Kli.
Первый раз такое ощущение, ну, я просто, может быть...
Well, it's the first time I have this feeling that maybe it's the first time I heard that the mutual responsibility isn't just ideas, how to fix relationships between people, but it's a global transformation of all of creation, that our prayer comes to the Creator and He answers it. It's not just to have a good life. It's a transformation in all of creation.
Yes.
Woman Turkey 1.
Rav, atalarımızla aramızdaki ilişkiyi koruyan arvut mu?
Does the state of with mutual responsibility maintain our connection with the fathers?
What did he say?
Does the state of mutual responsibility maintain our connection with the fathers?
Yes,
Patriarchs.
of course. Yes, Mutlu.
Kiev 1.
Да, дорогой Раф, мы выясняли по поводу...
Yes, dear Rav. We scrutinized regarding the Creator loving the created being, and according to his example, we have to love the friends. The 10. How does the Creator love the created beings?
I don't know. I guess like parents who love children.
Мне надо любить моих товарищей в десятке, чтобы перевесить мир.
I have to love my friends in the 10 in order to sentence the world to the side of merit. What is my love for them so it will influence the whole world?
Что ты все время смотришь на детей, как сделать им, чтобы на самом деле им было хорошо в абсолютном.
You look at children. What can you do for them to feel good in an absolute manner? Holland.
Good morning, dear Raf.
Morning.
The article is talking about shifting of the balance. So, what is our balance now?
I can't tell you what the balance is right now. Right now, there's no balance. Or in like an in-between state.
So what are we shifting then?
אז אם כך, מה השינוי שאנחנו יכולים לעשות? איך אנחנו נוביל לשינוי?
אנחנו צריכים בינינו לעורר
We need between us to awaken love,
שהאהבה הזאת תתעורר
and that this love will spread through all people of the world, and we are able to do it.
ואז ברור שיהיה טוב לכולם.
And then it's clear that it'll be good for everyone.
So if you can compare, let's say you have scales. What is on one side of the scale and what's on this side of the scale?
יש דבר אחד ובצד שני יש דבר אחר. אז מה יש על כף המאזניים מצד אחד, ומה יש על כף המאזניים מצד שני, ואיך אנחנו מכריעים לכף הזכות?
נו, אתה לא מבין מה זה מאזניים.
You don't understand what the scales are? Let's say this is good for everybody, for all of humanity, and this is what's good for yourself. So where do you want there to be more?
Who is holding those scales?
מי אוחז במאזניים הללו? מי זה שמחזיק אותם?
מי שאוחז במאזניים.
Who's holding the scales?
אני לא יודע.
I don't know.
אני חושב שהבורא.
I think it's the Creator.
ההכרעה שלך.
You are the one determining. The result comes from Him.
Okay. Thank you, Rav.
ביי. טוב. Latin 4.
Maestro, nosotros ahora estamos trabajando en la conexión.
We're working on connection now.
El texto habla de capacitación.
But
¿Cómo tenemos que
in the secular part,
de la escena a la parte secular?
it's hard for me to understand it. If you can repeat it or maybe send the question.
Latin 4, repeat please.
¿Cómo nosotros ahora estamos trabajando en la conexión, pero el texto habla de capacitación? ¿Cómo nosotros tenemos que capacitarnos para hacer un buen...
How should we qualify ourselves to work, I guess, with secular people?
We need to qualify ourselves by being connected and dependent on one another. And as much as our dependency will bring us closer to one another, we will be able to influence the whole system of nature. And it will be more and more, how do I say it? Good for everyone. Good for everyone.
Woman PT 23.
Women PT 23.
What is missing for Israel's recognition of evil so it will influence the country and the world positively?
For Israel, that's already a different type of work. We need to influence all of Israel to change the purpose of the world, the path of the world themselves. And in this way, everything will change.
How can we influence?
By the connection between us. By the connection between us. Women Latin 15.
Gracias, Rab. La plegaria antes de la plegaria es lo que nos puede ayudar en este momento.
The prayer before prayer, is this what can help us right now?
Yes, of course that makes the difference. All right, Neve, what are we doing next? And as usual,
What division should there be in the intention for which we ask the correction? Should it be for the Creator or for the world?
it depends what we're studying and how we are.
Should we see the whole world as being a part of the Creator, and then we're asking this for the Creator?
Yes.
Thank you.
No.
עוד כ"א?
לא.
Item 21.
21.
נו, בסדר.
Okay.
עוד כ"א.
Item 21.
זר ברבי שמעון באומרו העולם נידון אחר.
These are the words of Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Shimon, who said that the world is judged by its majority. He was referring to the role of the Israeli nation to qualify the world for a certain measure of purity until they are worthy of taking upon themselves his work, no less than Israel were worthy at the time they received the Torah. In the words of our sages, it is considered that they had attained enough virtues to overcome the side of sin, which is the filthy self-love. Clearly, if the side of merit, which is the sublime attainment of the benefit of loving others, transcends the filthy side of sin, they become qualified for the decision and the agreement to say, we will do and we will hear. As Israel said, but before they obtain sufficient merits, self-love will certainly prevail, and they will refuse to assume his burden. Our sages said, he who performs one mitzvah is happy, for he has sentenced himself and the whole world to the side of merit. This means that an individual from Israel finally adds his own part to the final decision, as one who weighs sesame seeds and adds them one by one to the scale until the balance shifts. Certainly, everyone takes part in this shifting, for without him, the sentencing would never be completed. Similarly, it is said about the acts of an individual from Israel that he sentences himself, that he sentences the whole world to the side of merit. This is because when the matter ends and the whole world has been sentenced to the side of merit, each and every one will have a share in this shifting. For were it not for his actions, the shifting would have been deficient. Thus you find that Rabbi Elazar, son of Rabbi Shimon, does not dispute the words of our sages that all of Israel is responsible for one another. Rather, Rabbi Elazar, the son of Rabbi Shimon, speaks of the correction of the whole world in the future, the end of correction, whereas our sages speak of the present, when only Israel have taken upon themselves the Torah.
הודעות לסיום. חג השבועות.
Announcements. Shavuot. The broadcasts today, Tuesday, at noon. The recorded noon lesson At 2:30, the festive meal. The broadcast for tomorrow, Wednesday, at 5:15, preparation for the lesson, 5:30, morning lesson, at 8, a prayer, not broadcast, at 9, meal, at 1:45, lesson preparation, and between 2 to 3, the afternoon lesson. This concludes the lesson. Have a good day and good night.
We are studying from the writings of Baal Sulam. We're reading from Kabbalah for the Student, page 111, Introduction to the Book of Zohar, item 4, page 111.
So far, we studied the questions and inquiries, whereas if we were to answer these inquiries, meaning understand them, and why we need to approach in such a manner this study and no other way, and why? Because we need to see the world in the angle of bestowal and not in reception, above reason, in faith, and not in the vessels of reception. If in such a manner we were to enter into that new angle of view, which is very problematic for us, with all the discernments that are here before us, then we will be able to come to the questions and understand our essence, our role, and more and more. And of course, then we will be able to scrutinize these questions properly. Meaning the inquiries prepare us to see the questions properly and the answers for them. Let's continue.
Page 111, item 4. To understand these questions and inquiries, the only tactic is to examine the end of the act. That is, the purpose of creation. For nothing can be understood in the middle of the process, but only at its end. And it is clear that there is no act without a purpose. For only the insane can act purposelessly. I know that there are those who cast over their backs the burden of Torah and mitzvot, saying the Creator has created the whole of reality, then left it alone.
This is what he's basically trying to say to us. You have nothing that exists in reality, I would say including the crazy people and little children and infants, doesn't matter who or what, at all. There's just no such thing in reality which is seemingly existing for no reason, just like that. Or that is in some action that is not
It is 77. It is written, there is none else besides him. This means that there is no other force in the world that has the ability to do anything against him. And what man sees, that there are things in the world that deny the higher household, the reason is that this is his will. And it is deemed a correction, called the left rejects and the right adducts. Meaning, that which the left rejects is considered correction. This means that there are things in the world which, to begin with, aim to divert a person from the right way, and by which he is rejected from sanctity. And the benefit from the rejections is that through them a person receives a need and a complete desire for the Creator to help him, since he sees that otherwise he is lost. This causes him to make a heartfelt demand that the Creator will open his eyes and heart and truly bring him nearer to eternal adhesion with God.
The only work a person has to do in this world is to reveal the upper force, which is the only force that is operating, surrounding everything, leading all of creation to the prescribed goal. And when we read what the Kabbalists wrote, we relate to their writings like regular textbooks. But this is completely false. It's the wrong approach. And I'm asking you, and I'm asking you not to forget that, and to always remember and remind yourself of this condition, that the wisdom of Kabbalah doesn't teach a person. We're not a school where you acquire some wisdom, or a yeshiva where you study what is written. No, we're using these things as a form of guidance, hora'ah, instruction, you could say. That's why Torah, hora'ah, the same root. So where something is written, it would not do me any good if I study it by rote 1,000 times and connect it to other verses and know those intricate references and all those interconnections between the verses. No, rather, and also not to use it like some form of a science that someone else discovered and I will use it. Rather, what Kabbalists write, they write it in a completely different style. It's written in a way by which I have to realize it, establish myself in a certain way. So if it's written, there is none else besides him, I have to perform certain actions to become similar to none else besides him. Then it will be called adhesion, connection, chibur, attainment of our goal, to reveal the Creator, meaning to connect with Him. So, what is written, the text I have to receive as instructions. And then I'll give an example. In all the occurrences in my life, I have to see all the time there is none else besides Him. For everything that happens in life, what I think, what I feel about myself, inside me, towards others, doesn't matter what, I constantly aim that none else, there's none else besides him, meaning how do I locate him? Then I reach, I can draw this. So we have this wide field of vision, and we constrict it and constrict it and constrict it until we reach something and that we can determine as the source of creation. We constantly work in such a way. We focus ourselves on none else besides him in an ever more precise manner until we find it. Therefore, when Baal Sulam writes, there is none else besides him, this, for me, is a work order and not some piece of knowledge that he's there somewhere and he envelops everything and you'll think that if something happens, it's from him. No, rather in every moment in life, in that action, in that thought, in that instance, I have to discover and reveal that there's none else besides him. How? By looking for what is the reason, what is the nature of the action, what is the purpose of the action, how do I relate to everything that I see, everything that that appears to me, everything that becomes revealed to me. And I have to see that that's how he is holding me. He created me in such a way that I will discover him in this way. And specifically from that state where I grasp more or less in different ways, different perspectives, I make an effort to establish that there is none else besides him, out of myself becoming none else besides him. And that's how we reach the realization, actualization of the action in each and every time. Therefore, it's not exactly like in all the other sciences, physics, chemistry, where someone is engaged in that, he discovers some new phenomena, he brings those results to us and we can use them. Here there's no utilization. Rather, the Kabbalist write to us how we should relate to all of creation. And that's why we call these books Sifrei Torah, books of Torah. That we constantly try to discover this unique, special force. And when I relate to each and every action like that, and I see that he's writing correctly, that there's none else besides him, meaning that there is no other force in the world. That's how I observe each and every action and try to identify in my attitude towards this action that this is an action of a single force, a single desire, a single purpose. And then I see that even if there are various disturbances, there are things in this world that deny this higher force, its control, its rule over everything. The result is that this force itself arranges such things that will push me away from the path. Let's say if I'm here and I'm trying to advance myself towards this goal, then instead of that, he's performing all those exercises on me. He brings me to one place, he places a barrier in front of me, throws me to the other side. And that's how I keep dispersing from side to side, but then I have to concentrate my internality. I have to be inside of me, in none else besides him, in order to discover that nature is none else besides him. And then in this way we construct in ourselves the same attribute as the upper force. And also, what he's saying, this is according to the correction: the left rejects and the right adducts, brings closer. Similarly, the same way that the left rejects and the right attracts, if I seek a single force, not the friend, not the teacher, only a single force in reality, then we reach such a state where both right and left, they're equally important towards the goal. There is no more or less. There's no good or bad. Rather, I need everything in order to make myself none else besides him, and in that to be adhered to the Creator. And the important thing is those problems that we know come to a person that specifically invested much strength and is with us for a long time. And if he forgets that this is the way to advance, he will be unable to hold himself. Also, he will not be able to hear the other, the friend, the environment. And this is our problem right here, to understand that both the friends and the others, they're all managed by none else besides him. And I have to see in them as well a single force. And if I relate to the teacher and the group in this way, and everything that happens, it becomes for me a very special instrument, positive. Why? Because in our world there is nothing that is closer, that can better aim me toward the goal in the shortest possible way. And shortest way can be the opposite way, but qualitatively and purposefully. So I have to be grateful that this force, this none else besides them, is clothed in the teacher, in the friend, in everything we are engaged in, because he is the one who established all these instances, these occurrences by which I can advance towards him in the most efficient way, to receive his form, assume his form on me. And the main thing to understand and to always hold ourselves in this idea that we can only advance through the rejections, only. Because they specifically develop in us the strength, the desire for connection, for revelation. And these rejections, these disappointments, if we discover that they all come also from none else besides him, and I have to be in none else besides him in order to understand them, to see them as a clarion, as a calling, an invitation to come to similarity of form with him, then I discover that all these disturbances are not disturbances, they're simply revelations of those points of similarity between myself and that quality of there is none else besides him that I have to reach and dissolve in. Therefore, specifically from the rejections, from those blows, we reach the goal. And although it is tough, But there's no room for disappointment when a person understands that specifically the Creator, that single force, brings more and more disturbances to him of finer quality, more cunning, that only then, out of our concentration on none else besides him, so that I wish to receive his form, then by that I reach the correct solution, and then for me, each following moment in which I discover disturbances and all sorts of that in any other situation I would not be able to tolerate, I accept them happily. As it's written, a person has to bless the bad as he does the good. That in truth, the bad advances us more. Those rejections, those deviations, those misunderstandings, disagreements, all those states that specifically those states show me the difference between my current self and what I have to be, the none else besides him, how to bring myself to it. And that's how we advance. It's called to arrive from Malchut to Keter in each and every state on our path. That we begin from this world and we begin to climb up the ladder until we reach the 125th degree from zero. So with every step we take, we advance when the force of disturbance, minus, is revealed in us, each time greater and greater force of disturbance, and the plus is coming when we draw from above the force of connection. What does that mean? That I have to reveal the right. Meaning I have to reveal it in order to balance the left, otherwise I wouldn't need it. So whenever I reveal the left, I should understand that I have an invitation for the Creator to show me how much I need Him in order to turn myself into none else besides Him. And this is true for each and every degree. And we rise from Malchut, from its Malchut to its Keter, in every degree. But Keter is none else besides him. None else besides him, one. And Malchut is 10 attributes before the connection. That's how we advance. Now, in each and every degree that we rise, and we are not in that very bottom step with you. Meaning, there is a corporeal advancement of humanity, the corporeal timeline of development, and then the advancement in what we call Lo Lishma. This is us. This is our state here now. And this is evolution. We are already here in the degrees up the ladder and very advanced. state close to the Mahsom, and therefore those disturbances, those rejections are more qualitative, they're more powerful, more cunning. Therefore, the condition for crossing the Mahsom, the barrier, is to be as one man in one heart, so that instead of from we, will become one. And that's how we reach none else besides Him. When we combine a 10 into 1, from Malchut that includes 10 to Keter, which is 1. And this is how we do it from degree to degree.
78. It thus follows that all the rejections he had experienced had come from the Creator. This means that it was not because he was at fault that he did not have the ability to overcome. Rather, for those people who truly want to draw near the Creator, and so they will not settle for little, meaning remain as senseless children, he is therefore given help from above. So we will not be able to say that, thank God, I have Torah and mitzvot and good deeds, and what else do I need? And only if that person has a true desire will he receive help from above. And he is constantly shown how he is at fault in his present state.
More. And man must always try and cleave to the Creator, cleave to that principle, meaning that he always has to make of himself that one, so that all his qualities, all his thoughts, his desires, everything that happens to him, he condenses, concentrates into one. And then, correspondingly, he discovers that there is only a single force, the Creator. Meaning that all his thoughts would be in Him. Meaning that even if he is in the worst state, confusion, desperate states, there cannot be a greater decline. That he completely denies in every way the uniqueness of the Creator. He is unable to hold on to the path. He can't stand it. He's from every part, every place, nothing falls into place. He should never leave his authority. Meaning, don't think that it's not him, rather there's something else happening. Meaning, that there is another authority which prevents him from, prevents a person from entering holiness, to advance towards the revelation, the correct action, and which can bring benefit or harm. Meaning, he must not think that there is the force of Sitra Achra, for example, the other side, which does not allow a person to do good deeds and follow God's ways. Rather, all is done on the side of none else besides Him. There is no evil in the world, just like there is no good. It's all inside of us. Good and evil is only so that we will balance them, zero them out, and be aimed at the north, as we call it. None else besides Him. In none else besides Him, there cannot be good and bad, light and darkness. There is no such thing. Only one. That unity, that singularity, this is what we have to attain. You cannot convey that. You cannot tell someone about it. Because if we don't reach that quality, we don't know how to express it. How to express something that has no plus, minus, black and white, north and south, and so on and so forth, if it has no And that's why Kabbalists are silent in this place. Rather, they give us advices. How can we, from moment to moment, advance in order to, on our own, inside ourselves, to realize, actualize, construct, establish this quality of none else besides Him.
80. The Baal Shem Tov said that he who says that there is another force in the world, namely klipot, that person is in a state of serving other gods.
Oh, the only one. There is nothing more. Rather, a person that denies that singularity is already out of contact with that force, that line through which he can reach adhesion. And therefore there are no mistakes, there are no deviations, confusion, no greater confusion than to attribute all the other people, other instances, this authority, this desire, other than this single source. We call him Creator, but Creator is Bo'eh, come and see. Meaning, if you change yourself in the right way, you will discover what is that force. And if you don't discover it, you won't be able to convey it, to pass it on to someone. Meaning all the books of Kabbalah, books of Torah, that's why they call the holy books, because they tell us how we can aim ourselves at the none else besides Him, at the attainment of that force, that single cause to everything we feel, everything that's depicted in us as the image of the world, because He is the one who paints that picture. I have a feeling, a sensation that I'm sitting in this big hall with a few thousand people, and I appear here, and you hear me. How can I see that thing in a real way? Is it my imagination, or is it not? I have to reach none else besides Him first. Then we can understand what Kabbalists are talking about, just how imaginary this world is. That's why we have to agree in advance that all the instances in our life, all the occurrences come to us only so that we can establish that vision, focus our vision in the correct way on reality. That in everything, I see only one thing, the action of there's none else besides Him. And not only that, that when someone says that he has his own authority, what does it mean, his own authority? That I am a master of my own domain, that I determined something? Let's say now, I decided I will think about none else besides Him, that I will make an effort in that direction or not? Am I the one? Or maybe I too have no choice because I'm under that single force that determines everything. Yes, Kabbalists say, He does everything, so where's me? Where is me? What does it say? Let's say He talks about yesterday, that yesterday He Himself did not want to follow God's ways, that too is considered committing the sin of heresy. What does it mean? That he does not believe that only the Creator is the leader of the world. And is He not the leader of the world right now? How can I agree with Him? How can I perform the correct or incorrect action. Where is the me in here? Is there something in me that I can perform independently? No. No, there isn't. That's why we were given this world, that we can organize an environment, and through the environment I can begin to receive independence, free choice, the influence of the environment on a person, that they would help me. How they would help me? To aim myself at none else besides Him. So it turns out that if I talk about myself, there's nothing to say. I'm a machine. And if I talk about everything in the world, there's nothing to talk about. None else besides Him is operating on me, is operating on them. And only a single possibility was given to a person to organize his life in what? So that it would aim him to hold constantly this none else besides him. And in that way, we reach revelation. Next. If we go, let's go all the way.
83. Something from Rabash. It is known that the whole earth is filled with His glory. And this is what everyone must believe. As it is written, I filled the heavens and the earth. Yet, the Creator concealed it in order to give room for choice. And there we find a place for faith, to believe that the Creator fills all the worlds and directs them. After one exerts in Torah and mitzvot and keeps the mitzvah of choice, the Creator reveals Himself to him, and he is able to see that the Creator is indeed the one who rules the world. This is called that one makes him king to rule over him, meaning that one feels the Creator, that he rules over the whole world. And that's called that one makes the Creator king over him.
But that's only to the extent that a person is capable of constructing inside of him, on his own, this quality called none else besides him. Then inside this attribute, this quality, he senses, he understands what is the Creator, who is the Creator, and it turns out that this attainment and adhesion are one and the same.
81. It is written in the Zohar, there is no vacant place from him. The fact that we are unable to feel Him is because we lack the vessels of sensation. Just like we know that the radio receives sounds that are present in the world, since the receiver does not make the sounds, but rather the sounds are already present in the world. Though before we had the receiver, we were unable to feel the sounds even though they were already in the world. Similarly, we understand that there is no place vacant of Him. All we need is a receiver to feel it. The receiver is called adhesion, an equivalence of form, which is the will to bestow.
And this is the only thing the books are speaking about. Meaning they don't tell us about the upper force in and of itself, because unless I change, I will never understand what they're writing about. It says, from your actions we shall know you. Meaning I have to the extent that I reach similarity of form with Him, I discover that force, that none else besides Him, inside of me. That's why all the books speak only of the change of man. And that's how we should treat our work, and that's what we should demand. Yes?
When we acquire this receiver, we will immediately be able to feel that indeed there is no place vacant of Him, and that the whole earth is filled with His glory.
Did you read 83 already?
Yeah, 84. Thou hast hid me in behind and before, meaning the revelation and concealment of the face of the Creator.
Sometimes he's revealed more, sometimes he's revealed less. By that he builds in us all those impressions. Like in everything. We have to feel the gap between two things, and by that we receive a sensation.
This is because indeed his kingdom ruleth over all, and everything will return to its root, because there is no place vacant of him. But the difference is in the present tense or future tense, because who connects the two worlds?
Meaning my current self and my future state, where I'm in none else besides him,
discovers his clothing in the present. Everything that is done is a clothing for the revelation of divinity.
I discover in the present, not in the future, in the present, Hove. And so I will discover that even everything that I've done before and what I thought of and all the things that used to be, it all came from none else besides him. And I have only a freedom of choice in the matter of the environment. So if a person can zoom in on his life and he examines what he did and what he did not do, if he invested in establishing, designing an environment in order to discover with its help the quality of none else besides him, to construct that attribute, this remains. Everything else, whatever you do, it does not remain. There's no benefit from it.
And this is deemed the present tense, meaning that now too he comes out in royal clothes and evidently shows that the rider is not subordinate to the horse. But although it seemingly appears that the horse leads the rider, the truth is that the horse is provoked to any movement only by the sensation of the rider's bridle and headstall.
So it turns out that the Creator brings everyone to none else besides him, the revelation of the singularity, to unity, a state where we're all connected in a single point. If we want to discover that, we can do it on the condition we change accordingly. If we don't want to discover it, we see our world. But either way, in all the occurrences of this world, He is nonetheless guiding us, leading us. And the problem is only on the question of when will we discover it. We're able to discover in each and every moment that we are in adhesion, or we can discover that after a long path of suffering that we were in adhesion, we're always in adhesion, but we failed to reveal it. And that's why it's you have hemmed me in behind and before. He is acting on us from both sides, none else besides him. More? Last one, okay.
89. From the Zohar. 89. Until one merges, turning his will to receive for himself into the will to receive for the Creator, with the help of the Torah and commandments, all the gates to the Creator have sturdy locks, as they then play their opposite role to distance us from the Creator. This is why the forces of separation are called locks, for they lock the gates of contact with the Creator and distance us from Him. However, If we make efforts to overcome them so they stop influencing us and weakening our love for the Creator, we will thus turn these locks into entrances, darkness into light, and bitterness into sweetness. This is because for every lock, we receive a special degree of attainment of the Creator. These degrees become entrances that lead to the degrees of sensation of the Creator Himself, and the degrees themselves turn into halls or chambers of wisdom.
So it all depends on our attitude to what is going on. And the harder those instances that come to us, and if we relate to them as none else besides Him, good and benevolent, complete mercy, by that we attain the Creator in a higher degree. That's it. Clear? Niv, clear? Okay. So, if a person is in a state that he is unable to accomplish anything, desperation, problem. It's a state where, how he writes, there's no happier moment in the life of a person than such a moment. And specifically here, they can test his manliness. Can he overcome?
Baal HaSulam, letter 17, there is no happier state in man's world except when he finds himself despaired from his own strength. Meaning, he already exerted and did everything he is able to do, and there is no remedy. For then, he is worthy for a complete prayer for the help of the Creator, for he knows for certain that his own work will not bring him the cure. And as long as he feels any strength to work from himself, his prayer is incomplete, because the evil inclination precedes himself and tells him that he is first committed to do whatever is in his powers, and then he will be favored by the Creator. And on that they said, the Lord is exalted and the loathsome shall see.
Meaning, if we talk about the path of truth, or the true path, we have to discover Him as the advantage of light out of darkness. The contrast. There cannot be real advancement